Welcome to episode 6 of Reclaiming the Light. This episode is titled When Shrinking Feels Safer Than Shining. Thank you for joining me. I am Dr. Grace, not a doctor of medicine, but a doctor of education. And most importantly, I am a servant of the Lord. There was a time when hiding felt like almost the wise thing to do, when staying unseen felt like a strategic plan, when shrinking felt like survival. This episode is for the person who learned how to lower their voice, how to dim their light, and how to downplay their gifts. Not because they lacked power, but because they learned that shining came with consequences. Sometimes hiding feels almost holy. Sometimes it feels humble, but sometimes it is fear wearing spiritual language. So we shrink in order to stay safe. But hiding does not always look like isolation. Sometimes it looks like overworking, overachieving, being the dependable one all the time. Sometimes it looks like smiling publicly whilst shrinking privately. We hide by staying useful, by staying agreeable, by staying small enough to avoid resistance. But what once protected you may now be preventing you. I'm going to share with you the story of Gideon, which could be found in the book of Judges in chapter 6 around verse 11. So Gideon was hiding in a wine press, not because he was lazy, but because he lacked potential. But because the Midianites, who were considered early Arabs, were oppressing Israel, he was threshing wheat in a place designed for pressing grapes, which means he was doing necessary work in the wrong environment. Stay with me for a moment. Because fear had reshaped its strategy. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him and says, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Mighty while hiding, warrior whilst he was still afraid. God called Gideon who he was before Gideon even believed it for himself. And Gideon responds like many of us do. If God is with us, why has all this happened? He questioned, he doubted, he minimized himself. Stay with me. Yet God did not rebuke him. What God did, he reassured him. Let's align this with our lives. Some of us are hiding in wine presses that look like things like degrees, titles, ministry roles, busyness, silence. We look productive, but internally we feel inadequate. You can be called and still be insecure. You can be gifted and still hesitate. You can be anointed and still be hiding. But hiding is not your identity. It was a survival strategy. That's what it was. So I created this shine framework that you're going to see in my workbook when it comes out. Let's activate this through that shine framework. Surrender. The S for shine, surrender. What fear have you normalized? Name that fear. H, heal. What past experiences taught you that it was safer to shrink? I for identity. What has God caused you that you keep arguing with? N for nurture. What small obedient step can you take this week? And E, empower. What will shift if you moved before you felt ready? That's the SHINE framework. And again, I unfold this with the workbook coming out in 2 months. Write one sentence in a comment. I am stepping out of my winepress by blank. Let this be your dedication. So, the impact of Gideon story. Gideon did not gain confidence first. He gained clarity through his obedience. Light does not appear because you feel brave. It appears because you move anyway, despite it all. And as you move, courage grows. Remember that. As you move, courage grows. This is why I wrote my book that's out on Amazon, Beyond the Shadows, the Light Within. Because I know what it feels like to live capable but concealed, to build safely instead of boldly, to survive instead of shine. And what I discovered is this: the light was never missing, it was waiting for permission. So I leave you with this question as we come to a close. The question is not what God has called you. The question is, are you still arguing with the call? What are you hiding because it feels safer than shining? No shame, only awareness. So let's take this week. I'm going to leave you with this for this week's message. You were never meant to live pressed down in a wine press. You were created to lead, to build, to speak, to shine. The Lord is with you, mighty man, mighty woman of God. This is reclaiming the light within. And this is where courage begins. If this episode resonated with you, I invite you to return weekly. New reflections are shared weekly. You do not have to walk this journey alone. This week, continue asking yourself, what am I still carrying that no longer belongs to me? Subscribe to this journey if it speaks to you. Share this episode with someone who needs that quiet encouragement. Leave a word and a comment that reflects what you are learning. And don't forget to order your copy of my book, Beyond the Shadows, the Light Within. It's available on Amazon and it's also available on my website, www.authorgracelnorris.com. And again, it's available on Amazon. And also, I shared with you that SHINE framework, but you will see it in the workbook. It's Time to Shine, which I'm going to release. You will know when I release it. It'll be in about 2 months. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. And I see you at the next episode of Reclaiming the Light.